Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. This will be probably the longest video on my channel. Advanced UI, well, will definitely take some time, so we should probably begin. Alright, and future me, please just add the presentation of what we will do here, for example. So yeah, would be nice, thank you. I hope I didn't forget. Okay, it all of course begins here, you go here to the UI, great. Now you have a lot of content here. You can edit in the minimap. Yep, I probably just should do a chapters here. So for the minimap, you can set, for example, here showing your own field of view. Basically this light, you can, I think, call it like that. You can completely disable this, and that's pretty much it. You can only also change the scale here, right? But well, that's pretty it if we are talking about the map. Of course, there are some map UI elements, so you can set here some markers, right? But you can't import terrain here, so minimap is not really in the best state right now. But it might change with the UI update that they told about in the live stream of the version of Luna 4, right? So yeah, we probably need to wait for a bit for that. We can disable this. I will disable this. Skill area. So if you disable some of these, you automatically also remove the skill, right? If you disable sprint, you won't be able to sprint even if your class has sprint allowed. So remember that. You know what, I will just prove to you. As you can see, it doesn't work. So let's go back here. Skill area, right? We can disable the skills here on jump or whatever, right? I will leave it as it is now, because it isn't really a good idea to disable that, at least for now, right? Maybe I will need those for testing. Team information, well, not super much to talk about here. There are icons here, so basically faction icons that can be found here and in the faction. This is the icon here. Okay, let's go back. So as you can see, we can disable also the factions here, right? Alright, there was a button here. Okay, I'm so dumb. Never mind. Okay, as you can see, we can also disable this or this. There is not that much thing to talk about here, right? So I can also disable this. Character HP bar, well, it's basically your HP, right? So yeah, not much to talk about. You can disable the level or entire bar or just status. Okay, joystick. You won't find that on PC, of course. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? Now, creation HP bar. How to say this? Let's just say it's completely useless here. You can't even use it. You can't tie this to some enemy. You can't do anything with this, basically. You can't even disable this. Well, it won't really show, but yeah, you get the point. You can do anything with that. You also can do anything with X button. You can't also do anything with tabs. You can't also do anything with chat button. You can't also do anything with network status. And you can't also do anything with struggle button. So yeah, most of this content here aren't really usable. But I think it might change when they will finally decide to update the UI, as they were telling us in the Luna 4 livestream, right? The voice chat was coming, I think, the skills better, the plunging ones and so on, and third one was UI, I think, and then environment, something like that. So yeah, yeah, there's not really much to talk about here if talk about inherent content, but the custom content is the biggest thing here, right? You can of course have custom template here, so basically you need to create some templates here, then you'll be able to import them. I will show you in a second. Now You can set interactive button here, item display, text box, pop-up, progress bar, timer, scoreboard, remove that. Deck selector. So the deck selector, I talked about it in the previous video, but I will still shortly talk about it, because why not? So we can, I think, start. This is the interactive button. It has well, key mapping here, right? You don't have too much to choose, at least from the normal letters, right? So for example, we can pick H here. For the pad you also have different combo here. Combo, key combo, I don't know, call it whatever you want. You can change the size, of course. And here you have the most important things. So either it can be a button skill, interactive event, or use items, right? So as the name suggests, this will just use the items that you can create, right? You can create the custom variable here and then assign config ID, right? So the variable type must be, well, config ID. Interactive event is probably the most used icon here, I mean skill, the interactive button here. You can choose any icon from here, or well, objects, whatever you want, or equipment even. There is a really lot of icons here. So you can, for example, pick this, because why not? You can set CD here, cooldown, or usage limit. You can also hide it when no users are left. The usages must be, of course, the variable. So to enable that, you can just go to the stage entity here. For example, this is just an example, because this can be, of course, also a variable placed in the player, but we'll do for the stage entity, right? So count, for example, here, integer and 2. That's all. Save, and now you can pick it here. Great, now you have two usages, as you can see. Great, right? Okay, so you can also yep, that's it, never mind. You can assign the skill here by going here. Then you can add a character custom skill here, for example. So you have custom button skill here. You can set a lot of it, really, as you can see. So for example, we can do this here and custom skill here, right? So now when we will go back to the UI, where you can set here, right? You can just set here. The button skill needs to be the type to properly set it, of course. So you can just pick up the slot here, right? So if it is placed here as the first slot, then you pick first one, if second, then second, and so on, right? But we'll use the interactive, no. We'll just leave it as it is. This is UI video, not the skill video. So we can, for example, also do item display here. Item display here is, I think, a lot better for buttons, because you can, as you can see, drag it, make the height a bit more bigger, right? So you can actually do custom buttons, for example, continue, right? And when you click on the continue button, it will just work, right? I'll of course show this in the video, as I probably showed this in the preview. This is a bit more complicated, maybe it's a bad word here. Just you would need to, where is this template item? You can use this basically for doing the buttons, right? For continuing and so on. So here the config variable, it can be even 0, whatever. So well, to set it properly, you can just go here again, right, to the stages and so on. So let's go here, stage, variable here, for example, then you can add, for example, item count here, assign integer, of course, then also cooldown, CD. I think this should be the floating point numbers, because the time is always in floating point numbers in Genshin. And there is also config just ID, and it can be 0. It doesn't really matter here, at least for this video. Where is configuration ID? Here, okay, it can be 0. So you just go here back here, item config ID, config, item quantity, of course, item count, for example, and slot cooldown. It can be CD, as you can see, floating point numbers. And that's it. For the configuring key, right? You can set it, for example, to I, Y, and here, for example, to this. It can be, of course, if you want it to be interactable, you just pick this, right? I think this is pretty obvious. Height and quantity is 0, for example, item quantity display. Usually don't want this to be enabled if we talk about, for example, continue button, right? Textbox. Textbox isn't really too much to explain here. It's just a field for the text. So you can type whatever you want here and do something like this. Or you can also create with these custom backgrounds and custom decorations. I will show you in a second what I mean. But firstly, let's talk about text, right? So B is of course for making bolder font bolder or stronger, something like that. You can also use, for example, size tag to change the size of the text, right? So it will just make it bigger. You also need, of course, to make it larger in terms of dimensions, right? Or you can, for example, adaptive font size and then minimum font size 10, for example, 12, right? Then, as you can see, it will try to make the font smaller whenever the dimensions aren't really good enough, right? So you can enable this or disable this. You can also put the black translucent box here if you want. There are also other tags like, for example, color, right? Color, for example, for red one, you can use just this. You don't need to use the quotations mark, and you can also make this a lot shorter, basically like this. You can short this to this. You can also remove this. As you can see, it still works. If you want to make the text have a bigger opacity, right? I mean lower, not bigger. It already has 100 opacity. Then you just go here again, and 7 and 8 number is basically for controlling the opacity, right? So from the range of 0 to F. So if you type 5 and 5, the opacity will be very low, as you can see. If you type FF, then it will be 100%. If you type 00, then it won't show. If you type 11, then it will be barely visible. The size tag should be used mainly if you want to create a UI that is basically also compatible with 4K monitors, right? Because for some reason the UI is pretty broken, I can say, for the 4K devices. So if you want to make sure it works properly, you should use size tag to 200 at max, and then change the font size to 1 below. I was talking with Fred about that one, so yeah, if it wasn't for him, then I would be cooked with my stage, I will be pretty honest. Now let's talk about other things. You can use, for example, a special size font on the internet, and those sites, for example, this is one example of site, can contain Unicode characters, right? So you can just copy this, then you can go back to Genshin, for example. I will give you, of course, one of the sites in the description, so you can just copy this, of course. Now look, you have a block here, right? Amazing. You should use size this as the max, as I said before. Now let's just go here. You can add more of this, of course. By making it bolder, you might, of course, also remove the weird borders that sometimes are near the text boxes. Let's just do something like this, I think. Yeah, why not? You can now just copy this. You can use Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. It will work. You can just copy this again, for example, and just make the UI well, bigger, right? So you will have like a box, a container for something. You can of course also add color here. So we can again go here, right? And for example, this. So you will have a custom color container, right? That also have the opacity. But as you can see, you need to be very careful with that because it is sadly having those lines that don't really look that good, right? So you will need mostly to just place one blocks here to actually make this look better, but it's still doable, right? So now other things to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about syncing informations, for example, right? As you can see, this is not synced, so you will need to do all over this again, right? Change the dimensions, changing everything, but you can just click here and sync information to all platforms. So if you do that, now all of this is synced here, is in the same, well, pretty similar position, and also is well, having all the sizes here, right? And so on. Now for the waypoint settings, right? Waypoint settings work basically like that. Look, I will place boxes here, right? For example, let's just place them here and let's place something like that. Or I can even remove that by clicking either delete key or just, well, doing that and delete here, right? So we can put it here again, as I said. Now look what happens if I click here, right? It stays here. So if you want to make sure that it goes to the right, you just go to the waypoint settings, click it here, then as you can see it is saved here, right? If you want to go also down, then you just click it here, right? It works mostly for the devices that, as you can see, have bigger height, right? It works like this basically. So yeah, but if you will change it to this, then of course it will stay in pretty similar place, right? It won't go that down. Or you can even just do something like this. So it will also stay in the place even better, I think. Yeah, it works even better. Great. So yeah, that's basically how the waypoint works, right? It just looks for the corners of the screen. I think this is the best way to explain this. So this is for center, this is for top, this is for bottom, this is for left, this is for right, and those are just corners, right? Okay, great. I think that's all from the... yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the text box. I can also show one thing more, I guess. So let's remove this. We can do, of course, backgrounds because why not? We can, of course, scale it here, something like that, and just then hit Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V multiple times, right? And this way we can have black screen basically in Genshin, right? It works pretty well. That's a really nice thing to do. But you probably don't really want to turn this text one by one, right? So what you do is to basically just select all of this by clicking Shift and then mouse click, right? Left mouse click. Then right click, create combination. Now you can just disable all of this and enable all of this by copying this index here, basically in the set UI node. I think it's called set UI now. It was before modify UI. Now it is set UI. So as you can see, naming changes even now. So yeah, this is basically for black screen. Okay. There is also UI control group library here, right? So you can add, for example, Textbox here, and as you can see, you have a new setting here that is layer. Layer is, how to explain this? Well, most people already know what layer is. It just, the higher the number, the higher the priority, right? So it will just show nearer to the foreground. I think I can call it like that. I'm not really sure how to explain this. My English is too poor for that. Sorry for that. So yeah, we can again do a black boxes here. Why not? And we can, for example, do some cool UI buttons here, right? So let's do a close button, for example. I think it will be a good idea. I will just edit this because I don't want to move all of this up. So yeah. We can use layer 1 here, for example. We can make it centered. And then we can use the site I said about, for example, right? So let's use this. And let's see this how it works. Yep. So we can just move this. Right, it has a bit higher dimensions. We don't need to have them that huge. Yeah, I think I'll just... You need to be careful because if you squish it too much, then it might not show for other players and you might have basically bugged UI, right? So yeah, be careful with it. I'll just also change this to this. I don't want to move this, so yeah. Now we can, for example, use text here with layer 2. Also here, and for example, it might say, alright, okay, it might be just that way, okay. So here, and continue or close, Right, we'll do close button here. Let's just make this, and color black. So color this basically. Right. And now, since it is lower than here, we need to move this here basically. Right. Now we can increase the font size to this, for example, and now you have, well, kinda a button here, right? You can say that. Now, the most important thing to add here to actually make this work is to, I will show you, add an item display here, as you already know. Now you need to, or no, wait. This needs to be just moved to the button here. Yep, so I need to move all of this down. Great. Now slot cooldown again, CD, not here, sorry, this. You can change this to here. Now you just need to scale it like that. So you can actually click this. As you can see, it also shows here. It will of course change whenever you said you change the display here, right? So yeah. So now you have the close button, and I will show you how to make it work because, well, you need nodes for that, right? Okay, so let's try. Now, I recommend doing here basically a combination. So create combination. You can call it close UI, for example, right? So let's go here. Now, sadly, you can't sync informations here. So yeah, you need to basically do this all manually, right? So sync information, and then sync information. Okay, now as you can see, we have good enough here. Yeah, okay. It's really good for testing purposes. Now save as template, close UI, great. Now you can either activate it by activate UI control group or remove control group node for removing, or you can just add this here from custom templates, close UI. Now you can, for example, move it here. So now you can disable this. Okay. Now you are pretty much ready, right? So if you want to display UI from interface layout, you can just use set UI node. If you want to display from the UI control group library, then use activate UI control group library. Okay, so let's just create a special node for that. So we'll basically need to mount this on the player, because UI will be always placed in the player nodes, right? So never place it on character, but on the player. Okay, so let's go here. add special close UI. So UI. Where is UI? When UI control group is triggered, this. So when UI control group is triggered, and now you need to see what exactly is triggered, right? Basically do a condition. So you go back here and you can copy this, basically date item display, because this is the button you actually interact with, right? So this is the most important here. And remember that the item count needs to be more than 0, because if it is 0, then it won't activate basically. So just copy this, go here, now equal, we will see. If it is wrong, then don't worry, I'll just change it in the video. Let's just start, we'll just do another node, and here for the node we'll basically add creating the UI. So basically player create, and here creation, right, this, thanks. You know what, let's try to do something else. I need to see if activating control group works. If that works, then great, we will see. Close UI, yep, let's close UI here, and here let's just remove UI. Maybe this will work, if not, then well, who cares, if yes, then great. We will see. Now this, great. So let's see, and I will need probably to also change this, but yeah, wait. Let's go to the UI control group library here, and item display here, and now we'll go back here and enter it here. Now we can test. I hope it will show now. It should. It's weird I found that it didn't show, but yeah, now it shows and works, as you can see finally, right? It's weird because I previously used the modify UI node and it worked. Maybe there is some bug here, or they changed the behavior of the UI. I don't really understand what happened here. It's weird. So let's ignore this. Fortunately, you won't waste that much of time like I did, because I'll just cut this, I mean. So yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, now we can talk about pop-up, I think. Yeah, because I have enough of the text boxes. You already know how this works. Great. So pop-up. Let's go. The title here. So emailing title or something. You can also color this or make it stronger, etc. You can do everything you want. And here, well, there is just a text content. There isn't really much to explain here because it works similarly to the text box. It is just in the nice looking container. That's pretty much it. So yeah, not good topic to talk too much of this about. Now progress bar. This is pretty nice, and I think, yeah, why not? I will show you how to do a boss bar in this video too, since this is about UI. So yeah, I can talk about that. So let's do a boss bar. So let's do red or blue. Let's do blue, why not? You already see red a lot. We can't really zoom much here, sadly. It would be really nice because I can't see nearly anything. Current value, no, where it is, do not show. Yep, let's just do boss progress bar and we'll see how that works. It needs to be something like that, not that, like that. And now you just go here, okay, great. Now you have 3 shapes here, vertical and ring. Ring is, well, as you can see, like this. Vertical is like this, and horizontal is yeah, horizontal is like this. Okay, great. Vertical just go up and these go well, left and right. You understand? You understand. Thank you. Nice, great. Now, minimum value for the boss bar of the, well, for example, slime, right? You want to do HP for the slime. The minimum value will be always be 0, and you can share this value with every other boss bar, right? It can always be 0, so we'll create that in a moment. Maximum value and current progress value. Those values needs to be different for different entities. Or you can just update them, I guess, right? Yeah, that's also a good idea. So let's create a new variables here. Let's go here. What I'm doing, this. Min HP. Now current HP and max HP. And of course, those will be integers. Yeah, I think this should be like this. Because integer, well, 0 is enough, right? So integer. But floating points numbers needs to be for the HP, right? I think. We will see if we can do that. Yeah, we can. So minimum here, current progress value. We will see how that works in the notes. Okay, great. Initial visibility. Okay, let's leave it as it is. Let's leave it as it is. Oh my god, my English is tragic today. Let's do a creation name here. So Hydro slime, for example. This is slightly larger, so I assume this. No, 22 I think. Yeah, probably this. Now just let's center this. So we can do this basically. And also we can bold this, make it bolder. Great. Now we can also copy this and make here subtext. So I'm not really sure why I did opacity here. It should work like that, I think. Yeah, this will work a lot better. Or 8.8 maybe. No. Probably maybe MBB. Leave it as it is. Yep, let's leave it as it is. Let's do something like that. Something like that. It's hard to judge this because it is this stupid creation bar is covering everything a bit. So yeah, okay, but it should work. So now when we have the progress bar, we just need to assign the values here, right? So we can of course use the I already know that we created basically, right? So this node for the creation, because why not? When the entity is created, we now can basically set custom variable 2 times, because only 2 attributes will change. Here GUID, really GUID, state entity, great, we can connect here. Now, sorry, maybe creation a little bit. Yes, okay, this UID here too. Okay, and now as you can see, we have a current HP and max HP, right? So max HP you can just put here, and variable name will of course have the max HP, and the current HP for now will also be a max HP basically, because well, the slime will have full health, right? So yeah, okay, let's go back. Let's copy firstly the variables here, so current HP and max HP. Okay, current HP, HP I mean, max HP. Okay, trigger it now. Great. Now, floating point numbers, yep. So remember, the variable needs to be set to the floating point numbers, because otherwise it won't work. Remember that. For max HP of course and current HP, it doesn't matter for min HP. It can be integer because of 0. Okay, now let's go back here. Did I change? Yep, I changed accidentally the variable. Great, amazing. Creations. Let's try. Do I have? Yep, I have here. Let's add him. Where is his decoration? Oh my god. Okay. Let's just add him here. Amazing. Great. Now we will need... Alright. This. It doesn't need to be a decoration. Okay. This. Do you have skills? Yes, you have. Okay. Allow me to also add very fastly the attack skill because I need to hurt him somehow. So yeah, I will need to use this. Now class here, go here, and sword combo. Great. So we need to create another node for this dude specifically. So let's go back to Miliastra sandbox. Let's go here and here when attacked, or just attacked. So when attacked, where it is, why doesn't just show the first result as it is? Never mind. Set custom variable, current HP, target TTT, QID, stage entity, of course, because the variable is mounted in the stage entity, not the slime. Let's disable this, and current variable value, creation, attribute. Yep, this. Interesting that it selects level as first. Current HP. Now, alright, we can just copy this, change this, and now we have, well, that's pretty much it if we talk about changing progress bar. We can just mount that. So let's do this. Let's mount him this, and I think that should work now. Right, I forgot. Let's disable this. Yep, I didn't add the slime here. Here basically I had the empty value instead of slime. So that's it. Now it will work, but let's increase the HP for him because he has, well, a really bad HP. So let's just, I'll just maybe do even this. Yeah, let's do this. Now it will work, I swear, this time it needs to work. Okay, let's see. Amazing, blue. Why it is that light blue? I thought that it will be like more dark blue. Never mind that. But as you can see, it works. Amazing, right? You have a custom boss bar. Let's go. And I am in the bubble. By the way, when this bubble looks so bad now, the game kinda improved so much that it just looks so bad. I already did progress bar, so congratulations, now you can do custom bosses. Yep, amazing. Now, what we can do? Timer. Okay, let's do timer. We can do, for example, how much time you spend in the level. Or also we can do absolute amazing destruction when you, well, wait 10 seconds, for example. The biggest thing here to change is to set the type to countdown or stopwatch. So let's do countdown here, 5 seconds as the warning time, so basically the time will play the sounds, and I think from red maybe? Yeah, I think. It plays this sound when you are just near the ending time and you are near failing the challenge. Well, in most cases, in Stygian or so, for example, right? So yeah. Stage entity will be here the source entity. Other entities are basically player entities. Oh, and then didn't change the language here. Interesting. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's go here. Let's do timer management, and we need to create 2 other timers. So this one will stopwatch, and this one will have 10 seconds as durations and a big countdown. And we can go to the stage entity, add common component, global timer, now specify timer and add 2 here, and amazing, now it is, well, it will work. Let's just go back to the UI, and now we need to specify the timer here. So global timer 1 as stopwatch and global timer 2 as countdown. As you can see, it already filters the types basically based on what you set up here, right? Amazing. So you can go here, and we can also do a node basically that will be placed on the stage entity because it holds the timer. So it is placed on the stage entity, not the player. Remember that. Okay, let's go here and to the Miliastra, of course, and let's do a timer. And let's call it, for example, absolute distraction. Distraction, not distraction, distraction, yep. So when timer is triggered, oh my god, when timer is triggered, so not this global. Why this space work? When global time is triggered, yep, this, exactly this. Okay. So, when global timer is triggered, timer name equal, I'll change the timer name in a second. Timer is triggered basically means it reaches 0. Yep, this. Settle stage, for example, or no. Let's do something else first. Settlement. This, finally. Fail. This, and player here. So let's, for example, let's QI player ID, QID, and here player ID 1. Thank you. Now let's just put the timer here. Since it needs to be a countdown, let's call it that countdown, for example, right? So countdown, I mean. Oh my god, my English is so bad today. Let's go here. And now result. Alright, double branch. Of course, double branch. This. Now we can place it to the stage entity, and now it will basically end stage. Another thing that I forgot. So let's start here, and where is this creation here? Yep. So start timer, just it, global timer, sorry, countdown. Yep, and target entities, of course, stage entity. Do I have? Okay. I think I changed the timer name and it just dismantled itself from this. I think so, yeah. It might work like that. It should work like... Oh my god, that still doesn't work. Gonna see that real quick. Let's go here, let's go here. Of course, yep, countdown. Now it will work. Well, as you can see, it is really problematic to make sure it works. Yep, now it works. As you can see, this is warning time, so from 5 seconds, right? And now it ends the stage. As you can see, it works. Amazing. Great. And next topic is what it is? Scoreboards? Yeah, scoreboards. Scoreboards are very similar to the scoreboards that are here. Basically team information. Yep. As you can see, it works similarly, but you can just add another scores here, for example, right? So player 1 score or custom faction, descending, ascending. I will be pretty honest, I don't have that much of a time to set this up properly, but I guess we can do, I don't know, player 1 damage, maybe. Yeah, I guess I can try. Why not, I guess. Okay. So let's just do this, and player 1 score will be a variable here. So damage, or no, sorry, we'll mount this upon the player. Yep, here. Damage done. And it will be in the floating point numbers. Great. Now we can go here to the manage UI, player 1 score, damage done, amazing. And now we can just go to the Miliastra, go here to the attack and set custom variable. Now damage attacker entity. Yeah, attacker entity belongs, because we're converting this to the player. Now this damage done, and here is the damage, as you can see. Note. So basically we need to use get custom variable node first. This damage done. Again we need to connect to this. Let's just make this a bit looking better, because if it will be all over the places, you want to just read this correctly, and that's not nothing you want. Damage done, floating point numbers, addition. I think addition is floating points, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So now you are basically reading the value of this. At first it will be zero, so it will be basically just damage, but then it will be saved here, so when you attack again, it will read the value of first instance of the damage and then add another second instance of the damage, and then give you a total damage you have done. So let's connect it here, and I think that's pretty much all, and it should work. I swear to God, if that won't work, I don't know what I will do. Yep, it has 0 here. As you can see, yes, it updates here. Let's go, it works. Amazing. Yep, so this is, for example, well, this is one example that you can do with the scoreboard. You can do also coins here, for example, collected. I think you can basically use this for the multiplayer games, right? Last thing from the UI is of course the deck selector. You can't add this here, as you can see. You can only add it here to the deck selector. Let's disable this because I don't see anything. Now you can just expand this and here edit whatever you want here. I already have a video about the deck selector, so you can give it a try. But I guess I can shortly explain what is what. So, well, as you can see, you can disable some of the settings. I don't think I need to explain those too much. List and grid is basically displaying of the objects. So let's add some new row. Unknown deck 2, for example. Why not? This, cabbage and butterfly. Something 2, amazing. Orange, no, green, sorry. This is blue. And here, cabbage. And here, butterfly. Amazing. Great. Now, as you can see, it works like this. You can change it to grid, so it will work like this, but I don't think it looks really nice. This just looks perfect, to be honest. So yeah. You can hide, of course, icons or descriptions or this and so on. You can set close manually, for example, here, unless you actually want to closing after the countdown ends, right? So yeah. And yeah, that's mostly it from the text selector. You have the timer here, of course. You can also disable this if you are selecting to close this manually, right? Now, basically the nodes, right? So let's go to the creation again, and you have basically invoke deck selector nodes, right? And you have all the options here. Most important ones are these basically. Use assembly list, and then write basically the ID of the objects you put in the list, right? So you go here again, go here, option configuration, edit details, and you have all the IDs here, right? So if you want 3 objects to display, you go here, right? I will show you. This is the first element because the list starts from 0. So this is first element, this is a second element, and this is third element. So ID 1 is the first element in our deck list, right? This is our first ID, but the 0 is basically the ID for the list only, right? Not the deck, but list. So here 2, here 3. Now connect also this. because if you connect only to this, well, you might encounter a bug when you won't be able to do anything if you didn't enable exceeding the stage, and you will need to wait basically 20 minutes, I think, or 15 for the server to reset your position and so on, and to kick you out from the testing stage. Otherwise, you won't be able to play the game. So yeah, please connect both of this list here. Select minimum quantity, so basically, well, how much you can just pick up. So for example, right, 2. Select maximum quantity 2, for example. Refresh mode, cannot refresh, for example. Refresh minimum quantity. Well, let's 0. Is 0 here too. The default return is basically if the timer, for example, ends. So it can choose, for example, the second option here, right? So you don't really need to do this, but you can as well also do this, because why not? Let's just do, for example, 2 here, because why not? Yep, and target player, of course, needs to be here. Deck selector will be found here. Wait, what? Why is this close UI? Right, I think I just forgot to save this. Really, nice deck selector, by the way. Close UI. Amazing. Amazing. Now, it is saved as template, so we can put the deck selector here. And don't give too large duration here, or it won't show your deck selector. Remember that, please. So yeah, remember that. Okay, now you go back here. Now you will actually get this here. It will display. If you want to, well, I don't know, do something, right, when you invoke the deck selectors and so on. Okay, let's just create another node. So it will basically do something if you, well, click something, right? So yeah, you can do this, I guess, here, because why not? It can be in the same place. So deck selector. When deck selector is complete, now you have selection result list. So you get value of it. Corresponding value for a list. The ID 0 will be, I think, only if there is one element, right? If you have just one option, then you always want to use ID 0. But if there is also a second option, then I think you also want to use the ID 2, for example, right? I mean 1, sorry. Here, now you basically have the value, and it is an integer because it is deck ID, right? So you can use multiple branches. Amazing. Now this, you have target player here also, so you can just directly connect the player here. It's a nice really thing here. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, for example, right? So let's, for example, do something like that. 1 will pause timer. Why not? Pause global timer. 1 will destroy entity, and this will be this time. And 1 will just settle the stage. Why not? Something like that. Destroy entity, UID. And of course, to destroy the slime, we pick up the slime. Amazing. Pause global timer is again UID, because it is mounted on the stage entity. And now timer global name countdown. Yep. Countdown. Great. It should work now. So yeah. This will be just for one choice, even if I added a bit more, but yeah. Okay. Now you go here. Go here. Let's try this. You heard that? It works. Oh my god. Okay, let's pick this. Why not? Alright, I set minimum 2. Never mind. Yep, I will need to change that to 1. Okay, let's go here and select minimum quantity to this. Of course, you can set more, but this is just for my testing. So yeah, okay, now we can finally do this. As you can see, the timer is paused. Amazing. Let's retry. Let's see what will happen. Alright, I think I can also close the UI or not. No, I can't. Never mind. Something. As you can see, the slime is dead. I know, horrifying, right? Now we can also test this. It should just end the stage. As you can see, it works. So yeah, that's all from the my cat again. Again I say this, really? That's all from the deck selectors. Oh my god, I am embarrassed. And I think that's it. Yeah, I showed everything basically. Yeah, and you can also of course use the site that I will provide in the stage in the video description to place custom well, blocks and so on. Not every shape will work, I just want to disclose that, but most, not even the most I think, only some of them will work. So yeah, you need to be careful with what you choose, but well, I think that's it. Okay, I think I can just show you one more thing, because why not? Yeah, let's disable this. Let's disable this also. I'll probably need to choose this too, sadly. Oh, my throat is burning, not gonna lie, for talking so much. It's probably already an hour. Yep. Wait, let's do background here. It is okay, but I will do something like that. Okay. We can now move this here. I can speak. Oh my god. We can move this here. We can move this here. And now we'll have basically a huge black screen. And you probably are interested what the hell I am doing, right? And well, I want just to show you that you can use this basically for some puzzle stages. Let's disable this. As you can see, I have the well, window here, right? So I can use this, for example, for some stages. Ah, right, it is on the 5 seconds, so it will be forever warning. That's so funny. Okay, so yeah, you can use this for the 2.5D stages, for example, right? When you have dark room or something, it will work. You can really do a lot with this. It's a pretty simple thing, but you can... Really? But you can do quite a lot with this. Just remember that this black box might cover this here, right? You need to be sure that this black box is one of the lower layers, right? And it is of course also activated before those UIs, because if you activate this UI after the black screen, then of course it will show before the black screen, yes? And if you activate the black screen as the last thing, then you only will see the black screen. You won't see the progress bar and so on. So yeah, the order matters here. So yeah, we have a window here, amazing, or something. Can you stop? Yeah, I will just show you how I did one of the UIs in the Pyroboy and Hydrogirl. So you will see. Okay, it will lag terribly, I think, even of the video. I need to see that. Oh my god, it lags so terribly. Now yeah, this is how I basically worked on this stage for a pretty long time, and I am pretty sure that it is because of the terrain here. I really want to see what the hell did I remove this. I want to see what will happen if I remove the terrain. Well, so as you can see, my FPS is really bad. That's why I should invest in a better CPU especially, but that also means that I need to replace a lot of things, but this video is not about that. Okay, let's just use UI here. Where is my UI? Here. Hello. As you can see, this is one of the UIs I did, but I need to enable this. Oh my god, this lags. This lags is crazy. Now, okay, now it works. It works like this basically, right? So This is just fixed for 4K because as I said before, I only discovered the size tag because of a friend. So yeah, thank you, Dawar. I don't even know how you pronounce that name. Sorry, Dawar. Okay. Yep. Let's just. I will just show you how I did that, right? So what icons I use, for example. This is for arrow. This is for continue. I have of course interactive button here and item display as I explained in the previous video. Continue box outline is basically this, but just black. Look, as you can see, amazing, right? Oh my god, even Ctrl Z doesn't work. Okay, it works, but huge delay. So yeah, if you didn't play my stage, you can, why not? But that's pretty much all of this video. So yeah. Oh my god, this lagged. So yeah, let's go. We are ending this on the Pyroboy and Hydrogirl. This is how it looks. As you can see, it lags terribly. That's kinda also why I didn't make more levels. Because I just, my CPU can't handle it. Look how mouse is slow turning, do you see that? I am really trying to turn it a lot, but it just doesn't do that. It's absolute tragic. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching for this video. I hope you had, well, at least you learned something. If you have any questions, please ask. I will of course try to answer. And I think that's pretty much it. If you like the video, just give a like. If you, I don't know, are crazy, subscribe. I am already 500 subscribers, so I am really thankful for you. If are you expecting any special video, then no, you won't get anything because I don't even know what I would want to do for specials. Thank you again for supporting me. Thank you, have a great day. And wish me good luck with editing this video. I will cry. Or